It's time for the Word of God. Let's go to Luke chapter 14, verses 12 to 14. Luke chapter 14, verses 12 to 14. You guys find it? Ready to go? Let's read it out loud in one. Luke chapter 14, verses 12 to 14. Did you get it? Got it? Okay. Let's read it out loud in a moderately loud voice. Ready, begin. Then Jesus said to his host, "When you give a luncheon or a dinner, do not invite your friends, your brothers or relatives, or your rich neighbors. If you do, they may invite you back, and so you will be repaid. But when you give a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, and you will be blessed. Although they cannot repay you, you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous." Amen. Not sure how you guys reacted to the death of Kobe Bryant and a bunch of other people last week. I don't know how you guys reacted to that. A lot of people were super sad, right? A lot of people, they were uncontrollably sad and things like that. For me, it was sad because, somebody died, and a lot of people died, actually. It was tragic because some people who died were young. That's about it, right? I didn't know him, Kobe Bryant, or anybody else on the helicopter. I didn't have a personal relationship with any of them. I thought Kobe Bryant was a great basketball player, but I didn't idolize him or anything like that. Like, he did nothing for me. I'm not saying he's a bad person or anything like this. I'm just saying that just from a very objective perspective, the only reason why I know that he died was because he's a celebrity. That's the only reason, right? Otherwise, I never would have known. Right? I didn't have a relationship with him. But a lot of people were sad, and a lot of people, they react in different ways. And, you see down in LA, all the things that are happening. You see basketball games, basketball players doing certain things, symbolic things with their numbers, or the way they play the game, or the things that they say in interviews, or, they do all these symbolic things to try to, pay tribute to him, but at the same time, honor him, respect him, also cope with whatever sadness or grief that they may have, right? But one thing that I kind of observed, that I saw, that I thought was interesting, was that so many people, like on social media, in the news and online and things like this, so many people try to identify with him, find some kind of a connection with him, right? Some people saying, "Oh, he and I had the same birthday," or other people, like on social media, wearing his jersey, posting up an old picture of themselves at Staples Center, right? At a Laker game where they watched Kobe play live. A few people posting a picture that they took with Kobe Bryant, or a video that they took of him playing a game or something. They try to identify, like post something up that says, "Hey, look, this is a connection that I have with him," right? I guess in a way, a relationship, even though Kobe Bryant doesn't know this guy exists, right? Even though Kobe Bryant doesn't care at all because he doesn't know him, right? But just because I took a photo of him, or I took a video of him, or because I bought his jersey, or I have, like some kind of a connection, some kind of a connection, relationship to him. Everybody is doing that. A lot of people are doing that. People that I know are doing that. Some of my friends are doing that, talking about, "Oh, I remember when Kobe did this," or "I remember, whatever." And they try to show that they have some kind of a connection with this person. And I observed that all week, and I'm wondering why. Right? What is the end goal of a person saying that I have this connection with a dead celebrity? Like, what is the goal of that? What is the end goal? I'm sure, I'm not like downplaying anybody's emotions or sadness or, things like that. I'm not doing that. But what I'm saying is there is a phenomenon when, we see like a famous person, like an actor or an actress at the airport or something like that. Hey, can we take a picture? And we take a picture and we post it online. Why? Why do we do that? I'm sure there are lots of many different reasons, but one reason that I can think of that the reason I would do that is because somehow I think that my connection with somebody that I think is at an elevated position also elevates me. You understand what I'm saying? Right? So that I think that if I see a celebrity that everybody admires or respects or everybody, thinks they're such awesome people, if I can show that I have a connection with this person, even though the picture I take with him or the thing says nothing about me personally, it changes me not at all. It does nothing to me. Just the fact that I'm associated with somebody who is considered to be elevated will also elevate me. I'm not saying these people who do like tributes and stuff to Kobe and do all these things with Kobe and things like they have bad motives or intentions or anything like that. But what I am saying is that why now, right? Did anybody know Kobe Bryant was going to go to a basketball game that day? Right? Nobody. But when he dies, when he becomes a tragic figure, when he becomes, this hero that everybody starts to acknowledge as a hero, well, I want to be associated with that. There was once a time when I took a video of him playing basketball. There was once a time when I bought his jersey and I went to see him at Staples Center. I actually saw him play live personally, right? There was that, and we want to connect with that. Why? What does that do for him or for his family? Not much, I would say. What does it do for you? It elevates you. I don't know. That's how I feel. That's Why do we wear like name brand clothes? Like, what was that thing that was like super popular just a few years ago, right? Supreme, right? Like super expensive and whatever. Why do you buy it and then why do you wear it? Because the logo's so pretty? Because the hoodie or whatever is so much better than others? No, right? Somehow we feel that if I wear something that is pricey or expensive, that has a great reputation for quality or something like that, that somehow makes me a quality person. Same reason we buy Jordans, right? Right? Because we think we play basketball better. By association, we think that we can elevate our status by associating with somebody who has a high status. That's kind of what we do, right? You guys know what name dropping is? Name dropping is when you're having a conversation with somebody and then you say names of popular people, famous people, whatever, that you somehow have some kind of association with to make them feel like you're somebody great. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yeah, saw Will Smith. You guys know who Will Smith is? Right? Yeah, no? Okay. Yeah, saw him at the airport in Korea. Oh, really? Why would I ever say that, though? Why would I ever share that so that I can get that kind of reaction? Somehow I feel like just because he didn't want to meet me, he didn't want to see me, he didn't care about me, he didn't know I was at the airport, right? But I just saw him. And so with that, I feel like if I say it, and Tommy Lee Jones, this was for Men in Black when they were promoting it in Korea. So like, oh my gosh, you saw it. Ooh, I feel elevated. I feel But this has nothing to do with me. This doesn't improve the quality of me as a person at all. Right? And yet, that's how we respond too, right? When somebody says, "Oh, I saw this person," or "I did this," or we're like, "Oh, wow," ooh, right? And we react like that. So we actually do it. We actually do. This person's status is somehow raised just because of who they saw. Accidentally. That's silly, but we do that, and we operate in this way. Right? At the winter retreat, you guys told me to don't let my daughter do TikTok, right? And you guys said that it's really bad, and that, and I didn't know much about TikTok. I thought TikTok was basically you make little cute videos, and then, and there's all these special effects and stuff like that, and then you do lip syncing and things like that, and it's funny, right? That's what I thought it was. But you guys told me, don't let her do it. It's really, really bad. You go, really? Okay, well, let me see why so bad. And then I started scrolling. Oh my goodness. Nobody do TikTok here. Nobody. I'm serious. Right? And here's the thing. It's not just that you have these 14, 15-year-olds overly sexualized in these videos and listening to music that's just, they shouldn't be listening to, that they shouldn't be exposed to, the content of the things it's not just that. I mean, that itself is bad enough. But you can say, yeah, but we get that in movies, and we get that on, that's true. You guys do get that stuff in other media as well. But that's not the only thing. The reason why I looked at this and I thought it was tragic was because all these people are willing to do anything to get some likes, or what do you call it in TikTok? Yeah, right. Oh, please don't let this fail. No, not fail. What's the bomb or flop? Yeah, please don't let this video flop. I spent 13 hours doing this, and don't let this video flop. And then I'm like, these people, these kids, are willing to push the envelope. They're willing to go through. TikTok has guidelines, right? They have guidelines, right? And then so they'll remove videos if it's like inappropriate and stuff like that. And I don't know what their guidelines are, but they're whacked. But these people, like they do whatever it takes to the limit of what that appropriateness is, or whatever is allowable on TikTok, and they go as far as they possibly can to try to get some recognition. I think that's tragic. So it's not just tragic, the content that you're exposed to, and that stuff's bad too. And so that alone makes me want to say to my daughter, delete TikTok, and she did, right? But seeing all I was sad. I was like, oh, really? You're gonna do this just so that some total random strangers can, so many people looking for boyfriends on TikTok. If you like Asians who are single, who can cook well, who can, ta-da. I'm like, that is so sad. That is so sad. It's tragic that these little girls want so much attention. They think the number on the side that sees shows how many people liked it, that gives them. It's tragic. We're so dissatisfied with ourselves. We're so, unhappy with ourselves that I want to be associated somehow, some way with somebody famous or popular or pretty, right? So that I can feel better about myself, this vicarious satisfaction that we receive just by being associated with somebody else. What does Jesus have to say about that? Because today's verses actually talk about that, right? In Luke 14, verse 12, then Jesus said to his host, Jesus is at a banquet, And he says to the host, when you give a lunch or dinner, do not invite your friends, your brothers or relatives, or your rich neighbors. If you do, they may invite you back, and so you will be repaid. This is their culture at that time. They invite certain people over to their banquet, knowing that the people who come to the banquet will also remember, yes, I went to this guy's banquet, so when I have my own banquet, when I have my own party, when I have my very important people visiting my house, I'm going to put that guy's name on the list because he invited me. This is just a thing. This is what they did. And Jesus breaks that up and he says, look, why do you want to do that? Why do you want to invite people over who will eventually pay you back? Who will eventually honor you by inviting you to their house? Why do you do that? How is this a good thing? So we want to be associated with celebrities. We want to be associated with popular people. Why? Because we think that that elevates me. Jesus says, why do you do that? No, don't associate with people like that. Don't invite those people. They can have their own banquets. They can have their own whatever. But what does Jesus say? He says in verse 13, but when you give a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, the blind, people who can't repay you, people whose association with you, it doesn't do anything for your status. We want to elevate our status so badly. Oh, man. Went to, when I was in Las Vegas the other day, there was this jewelry store, Tiffany. You guys know Tiffany, the jewelry store? You go in there, they sell diamonds, right? They sell rings and stuff like this. And oh my gosh, I feel nervous as I walk in because I realize that little thing right there costs $20,000, right? And the people who work there, not just Tiffany, but you have all these stores with like Gucci and all the like high price, things like the people who work there, they think they're so like rich. They think they're so, they kind of look down at you. They look you up and down and see if you can afford something like this. And but none of them could buy this ring. None of them could buy this, tennis bracelet. I never understood what tennis bracelets. They're called tennis bracelets, but they're like studded with all kinds of diamonds. They cost like $20,000. Do you put it on and then play tennis with it? I don't know. But like these things, right? None of them can afford it. None of them will ever be able to buy one. And yet, just because they work there, just because they're associated with this brand, they feel, I don't know, they act like, to me anyway, when I walk in, and then they glare at me like, this guy's not going to buy anything. What's he doing in the store, right? Which is true, but still, right? They're so high and mighty. They're so superior to me. Not because they're any better than me, but just because they're associated with a certain brand. And Jesus says, why do you want to do that? Look, if we do good to people who will pay us back, who can pay, that, first of all, what that does is it destroys our good motivations for anything. Right? What kind of friends do you have? Who do you hang out with at school? Why? My daughter, she's really funny. Like, when we're in private and I do funny things, she thinks I'm the funniest person in the world. But when I do those exact same things at the mall, right? When we're at the mall, the thing that my daughter says the most often when we're at the mall is this: Dad, stop. That's the most common thing she says to me when we're at the mall together. Dad, stop. Stop, Dad. Right? Why? Hey, why don't you tell everybody I'm your dad? Like when we're at Fred Meyer, right? When we were at Costco the other day. It must have been a snow day or something. We were at Costco, and then we're just going up and down the aisles, up and down, up and down, up and down, right? Just singing songs and stuff, right? And she's like, Dad, stop. Stop, Dad, right? And then a lady walked by and she goes, Oh, dad embarrassing the daughter. That's great. All right. And she's like, oh, dad. So what? You don't want to associate with, this cool guy? Um, who do you associate with at school? Who are you friends with? Why? Here's the thing. When we do good to somebody who can pay us back, Jesus says they'll repay you. But when we do something good to someone who cannot pay us back, someone whose my association with them doesn't elevate me, doesn't, make me more popular, doesn't make me more, it doesn't improve my life at all, associated with them. When we do that, we don't get repaid. What does Jesus say? We get blessed. Right? End of verse 12, they may invite you back, and so you will be repaid. Verse 13, but when you give a banquet, invite the poor, the crippled, the lame, and the blind, and you will be blessed. To me, I'd rather be blessed than repaid. I'd rather be blessed by God than repaid by people. And you know what this is called? This is called righteousness. Look at verse 14. And you will be blessed. Although they cannot repay you, you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous. We will be resurrected because we are righteous. At the resurrection of the righteous, that's when God will repay us. We will be blessed. And then you know what this makes me think of? It makes me think of God and what he did for me. He calls me his child. He calls me his son, right? God willingly associates with me. Why? What do I ever do for God? Meaning, how does God's association with me elevate his status? Right? How does God's relationship with me, improve his life, improve his existence? I don't think it does. Because he chose to have a relationship with me, because God chose me as his son, he has to bear my sin. Right? He has to protect me. He has to provide for me. He has to listen to my prayers. He has to put up with my unfaithfulness. He has to put up with my sinfulness. He has to put up with my rejection of him. Because he chose me. It does nothing for him. And yet, he loves me so much. Not only did he choose me, but in order to have this relationship, he sacrificed his son for me. That's what God did for me. And here I am on earth, picking and choosing who I associate with, just the people that will elevate my status a little bit. The people who will, because of this relationship, I'll gain something. I'll get something out of it. You guys are thinking right now, I don't do that. I'm nice to everybody. I'm just, No, go deep inside. Go deep into your heart and mind. Go deep inside and look at why you're friends with certain people. Why you're nice to somebody who you really shouldn't be hanging out with. And it'll come out. Oh man, I just want to benefit myself. I don't care about people who are suffering and hurting, people who are lonely, people who need help. I don't care about them because they can't do anything for me anyway. You know that clingy person who does nothing for you all the time, but they only call you when they need you and stuff like that? I don't want to, and that's the picture on the bulletin today, right? The phone rings and you're like, decline. This person does nothing for me. This person doesn't help me at all. This person doesn't benefit me at all. But in our own experience, that's not what happened to us, right? God didn't decline us. When we call out to him, he accepts us and he receives us. That's our experience. Why are we treating everybody else so bad? I want to encourage you guys today to once again think about what God did for us. What God sacrificed for us. Just the extent of his love for us. That though I add nothing to his status, he chose me anyway. How are we supposed to treat one another? Who are we supposed to invite into our circle? There are a lot of people around us who need our friendship, who needs our companionship, who needs to hear the gospel from us, the good news from us, who needs to be encouraged by us. A lot of people around us like that. We tend to ignore them because they don't really elevate my status. They don't help me out at all. We need to change that perspective. And if you can't do it here at church, there's no way you're going to be able to do it outside. So, right, it starts here, right? Everything starts here. God loves us very much. He chose us. And he tells us to love him and to love one another. So let's continue to do that, not being picky and choosy about who I want to associate with. Really? And just in our perspective, I've said this a few times before, but, celebrities are great and they're wonderful. They're entertainers and it's great. And when good things happen to them, fantastic. When tragic things happen to them, that's really sad. Just like it's sad for when any tragic thing happens to anybody. But they're celebrities, guys. They did nothing for you. They don't care about you. You fall off the face of the earth, they won't bat an eye. They won't know. Not because they're bad people, but just because they just don't know. And we spend so much time worshiping them. Who they have relationships with, who they broke up with, what they had for breakfast. And we don't care about the person sitting right next to me. I think that's tragic. Buying a pair of shoes for $250 because it has Kobe Bryant's name on it, but I won't give $5 to this kid who needs help. To me, that's tragic. Right? Let's invite the poor, the people who can't pay us back, and we will be blessed. Let's pray.